in worship today?
Yes.
Amen. Our message today is out of Hebrews, chapter 4, starting verse 1. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 1. And this is about entering into God's rest. Chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest," the rest of God, "any of you should seem to come short of it." Now let me take a step back. There's many, you can sort Christians all sorts of ways. There's denominations, there's sects, there's this, that, and the other. But it's like, really it comes down to, by way of observance, there's really only two kinds of Christians. Those that really are resting in God and those that aren't. And these are easy to tell. Because I'm not saying anything about their salvation. I'm not saying anything about salvation. But generally speaking, when you see Christians, either you can't distinguish them from the rest of the world. Is, well, I got to do this, I got to get that, and I got to take care of it. You pick up the kids after school, and I got to get groceries, and I got to take care of this. And it's like, and they're A type. You got to take care of everything. It's like, and then there's those that seem to be B type. It's like, okay, I have stuff, but I got peace. Everything's going to work out. They're resting in God. Peace and rest are pretty much the same thing. When you have the peace of God, you have the rest of God. By which I mean you're resting in his provision. It doesn't mean that you have any less to do, but you're not worrying about it. You're not trying to make it happen, because you know that everything's going to come together in its time. Every morning when my wife and I wake up and we pray, I always commit the day into the hands of God, that everything that he wants done will get done. Because I understand that many of the things I think are important to get done today, God may have a totally different idea. So rather than me focusing on everything I want to get done, it's like, okay, let's see what God's going to reveal in terms of him getting things done his way and his priority. So often I'll get the same things done, maybe more things done, but it might not be in the priority that I would have had it done. But you know, at the end of the day, it's done. What needs to be done. And it wasn't. Next day is a whole different day. Let us therefore fear, lest the promise being left us of entering into his rest, that is, God's promised this is rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. This is a very important thing. That's why he's talking about it. The rest of God, being in the rest, having the peace of God. It's very important. Why? Well, that's one of the things that Christianity offers. That's one of the things that relationship with God has to offer. He can bring us to that place of peace. So we don't have less to do, but we're not going to fret about it. But I still have those things to do. Yeah, that's right. And God will make sure that whatever needs to be done will be done, as long as you commit it into his hands. I've noticed that when I try to do it myself, I usually slow things down. So it's easier for me to give it into God's hands and for him to guide and direct me through than to try to make it happen myself. A good example is the play for Easter. I've known for a while I need to have it done. So, but I knew that I wasn't there to get it all done. Sometimes he gives me the anointing, I sit down, boom, it's all done. Didn't work that way this time. Okay. Now, I wanted to sit down and get it all done one shot. Didn't work like that. I got the first one done, and he gave me the chance to do the second one, and then I had to wait. And they gave me clearance to do the third one, and then I had to wait some more, and then he gave me the clearance for the fourth scene. And I didn't want it that way, but he wanted it that way. So that's how we roll. We all want, but we all have to give it into God's hands. And it's like he had it done. I don't know why he wanted it done that way. But he wanted it done that way, and that was good enough for me, because why am I going to get fretting about something that I have no control over? Verse 2, "For unto us was the gospel preached," believers, okay, "as well as unto them," you know, the notorious them, the they, the they being everybody who heard the word and didn't listen to it. For the word was, for unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them. So there's profit from the listening to the word. Profit, a benefit, a boost, something you wouldn't normally get. This is something, he says, get from the word, okay? But the word preached did not profit them. Why? Why would it profit us and not them? They, us being those that have peace in God, and them being those that don't have the peace of God, that are resting in God. Now let me explain, let me step back. Resting in God. Sounds good. But I don't know how to do it. This is what most people would think. Well, it sounds good, yeah, sign me up. But it doesn't work like that. It's simply a discipline. Because we've all been conditioned from birth. Here's a problem. You got to solve it. That's not how it works with God. God presents you with the problem and says, here's the problem. Now, what are we going to do about it? Different deal. Remember last Sunday, Jesus posed the problem, and he said, okay, how are we going to feed these people? And Andrew came up and said, wow, we got 5 loaves and 2 fishes, but how's that going to solve the problem? He identified the problem, identified the resources, and then God took over. He identified the fact he didn't have what was needed, gave it back to God, and he goes, okay, give me what you have, and he did something supernatural. That's the process by which God wants us to live every day. That's what brings us into the peace of God. Why is that? Because we recognize really and truly we can't do it. We always come up $1 short and a day late. Not quite good enough. Not quite fast enough. Not quite smart enough. Not quite, whatever. But that's perfectly okay when you are in the peace of God. And the peace of God is simply a matter of saying, God, I know whatever it is I need to do today, I really can't do it. And I really don't want to do it. Not that I'm lazy, but I need you to do it through me.
Amen.
I need your help with everything. See, the more you acknowledge that you need God, the more you're able to let go of the things that you want to get done. You're giving it back to Jesus. You get more peace. You get more resting in the Lord. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word, and we know that us and them, but the word preached did not profit them. Why? Not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. How do we get that peace? You got to have faith, not in yourself. You recognize, the first part is recognize you don't have what needs to be done. You don't have in you the resources to get done what needs to be done. But then the good part, you get into his faith when you realize, I can't do it, but I know my Jesus can. And I'm going to give it to him. And I know that he can do it. I know that he can do it because faith that he's given me is the substance of the things that I hope for. He's given me the faith for it. And it's the evidence of what I don't see. I've experienced that many times over the years. I remember once when I was, just after I'd started working at Wells Fargo, I worked on one aspect of the job for 2 months and they were freaking because I had a whole bunch of analysis. I had to analyze 986 companies. And they came to me and they said, 2 months, you haven't done any analysis yet. Well, it's because I had to set it up properly, I told them. And they said, you're never going to get this done before they come in here to audit, because the SEC comes in to audit, and then they get a fat fine for whatever isn't done. And I said, I'll have it done in 6 months. And I said, you can't get all of that done in a year. Don't tell me you can get it done in 6 months. I said, we'll see. I had it done in 6 months. At that time, I didn't know how I was going to get it done in 6 months. If you would have said, how are you going to do it? I would have had to say, I don't know. Because I really didn't know. But God put that word in my mouth, and afterwards I thought, huh. Sounds good. But I didn't panic. I said, okay, God, well, you're going to have to show me how to do this because I haven't got the foggiest idea. And he did. And it was done 6 months later. How's that? It's just trusting God. You know you can't get it done. The more you think you can do it, the more you rely on yourself, the less peace you got because you're trying to make it happen. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. You know, faith is not intellectual. Faith isn't waking up in the morning and saying, I believe. Faith is in your spirit. It's in your heart. It's not an intellectual exercise. It's a spiritual exercise. It's an emotional exercise. You know that you know. That's why you're not getting answers. Saying, I believe, but you're getting answers in the process. Doesn't work like that. You're able to put your head on the pillow and sleep at night, even though it looks like everything is going to come crashing down around you. You're able to sleep because you know in your heart this is true, even though you don't see the evidence. We all want a sign. We all want to know. We don't need it. He's given us faith. And faith is much better than giving us a sign, because we'll come to rely on the signs instead of the faith. Faith is much more important to have, because we can have that peace and we can get into his rest. Signs won't give us that. Verse 3, for we which have believed. That's not intellectual belief. Yeah, Jesus died on the cross for me. But is that real in your spirit? Is that real in your heart? For we which have believed do enter into his rest. If we really believe him, we come into that rest. That rest is manifest in us to everybody around us. You don't have to tell them. I've always found when people got to tell you something, it's more of a wish than a truth. Well, I'm a Christian. It's like, well, I'm glad you told me. I couldn't tell. I don't know. It's like, I'm a prophet. It's like, and how does that work? You know, this kind of stuff. It's like, if they're going to tell you something, usually it's not true. But he says, for we which have believed do enter into rest. We've given it to God, and we know he's going to undertake. Actually, we can't really contribute to what he does. We can mess it up, but we can't really contribute. He has to work through us. Remember what he said to those, hey, haven't we healed the sick? Haven't we raised the dead? And Jesus said, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I did not know you. You can't do anything for him. For which we believe to enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath. Oh, okay, and that actually comes back to Psalm 95, I believe it's 95. And he says, just to elaborate on that. You don't have to turn there. Psalm 95, verse 10, he says, 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, not in their head, in their heart, and they have not known my ways. Unto them I swear in my wrath that they should not enter into my rest. What we want to do, we can't get into the rest of God. That's what he's saying. Into the fullness of his peace, into his rest, it can't happen. And when he's talking about, this is the profit. This is what we profit by listening to the word. The peace of God. He's not talking about riches. He's not talking about health and strength. He's talking about the peace of God. Because that's the one thing the world cannot offer you. That's the one thing that the world is searching for and can't find. Peace. Peace and resting in God. The peace that comes from resting in God. The world can't find it. And we just finished reading in Psalm 95. It's like he said, you don't want to serve me, you're not going to get my peace. No, it's not that he doesn't want to give it. We're just not receiving it. Because we're saying, no, I can do it myself. As I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. He's saying, you think, well, I got to get this done? And Jesus said, all the work you have to do, all the work you have to do for the rest of your life, it was finished when Jesus died on the cross. He said, all your work, all the work, it's already been done. And you can receive it by entering into his rest and his peace. So you can take the long route, scenic route if you want to call it, and try to do it yourself, and you'll come up short. Or you can trust Jesus Christ and rest. You can get out of the front seat and the white knuckle, and the white knuckle club, and you can get into the back seat and enjoy the view. That's what he's talking about. It was finished from the foundation of the world. Jesus paid for it all. It was all done before he started. And he's saying, what do you want? I want to give you my peace. The most profitable thing I have to give you is my peace. And you're thinking, yeah, but $1 million would be nice. But you know what? The $1 million is nothing. Because the $1 million still won't buy you God's peace. And Jesus already paid for the peace. The peace and the rest in God. And that's my message today.